Okay, so now we've installed MAMPS, we have set up our WordPress installation, and we have pointed MAMPS Apache server software within MAMPS to the WordPress installation, so it knows where it is, so I can run it. Now we need to just do a few more things to get it to work. And one of those things is we have to create a database. Now don't freak out, it's not that tricky. It sounds worse than what it is. And I'll just give you a quick example of what I mean and what happens if you don't do this. So I'm just going to start the servers. Okay, servers are starting up. And then I'm going to pop over here. And I'm just going to out of here. And get out of here. So I've started the servers, and you can test MAMP Pro by clicking that, and it all works 100%. That's wonderful. What I want to do is type in local host. Okay, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to go 8888 and return. So now you'll notice there's an error. And this is cool. This is meant to happen because we haven't configured it properly yet, but I wanted you to see this in case you jumped ahead. This is the default local host location of where this installation will appear. So MAMP has literally gone to that file folder now and gone to execute it and gone, hang on a sec, there's no config PHP file, we need to get that happening. And we do that by installing the WordPress installation through configuring it. But before we do that, before we go and create a configuration file, what we need to do is set up a database. So I'm going to show you how to go about doing that right now. So what we want to do is come over the MAMP window here, and we want to open the start page. So we just click on that, and now it will, let's close that off. It will open this here. And what we want to do is go to the tab called My PHP My Admin. Okay. Now in here is where you'll create a new database. Don't freak out. It's not scary. Don't worry about it. It's not that hard to do. But I'll just take you through this briefly. Now you'll see over here you've got a test database that already exists, which is that one there. But what we want to do is we want to create our own new one. So I want to show you how to go ahead and create a new database. Okay, so you'll notice there's a whole lot of tabs across the top here. What we need to do is go to the databases tab, and you'll see the existing databases here. What we want to do is create a new one. So quite simply, I'm just going to call this WP test. You might want to write this down because we're going to need this later. So, or you can just remember it. So we go WP test and hit create, and database has been created. That's it. That's all there is to it. The reason we don't need to do any more, because when we do the final setup of WordPress, it will populate the database here. Okay, we don't need to go any further and customize it. That's all we needed to do. So that was pretty cool, huh? It wasn't that difficult at all. So you just created, maybe this was the first time you created your first database. That's how you do it. Okay, so now we've done that and created the database, we're going to go back over to our local installation of WordPress. Now remember, to get to that, we typed in localhost :8888 because that's telling the Apache web server software within MAMP to go to that folder where we installed WordPress. Okay, so you don't need to actually see the WordPress folder up here. Localhost :888 will automatically go there looking for it, which it has here, but it's not working yet. So now what we're going to do is get it to work, because we've got a database now that we've created, and we can now finish off this configuration. So all we need to do here now is go create configuration file, and this is a welcome page to WordPress. Okay, and it just tells us what we need. We need our database name, we need the username and password. Now by default with MAMP, the username and the password is root, so ROOT. Our database name is the one we just created. In my case, I just put WP test, and the database host is localhost. Okay, so that's pretty much all we need to do. So we just hit let's go. So up here we need to change this to WP test, because this is the name of the database we just created. Again, by default, MAMP's username is root, and the password is also root. Localhost is there, and this is your table prefix, which is always WP underscore, and then it'll put the information of each table as it adds it to the database. Now you may remember when I was talking about WordPress hardening in previous issues that one of the ways to improve the security of your WordPress installation, so let's say for example this installation here that you're going to be doing on your local computer, you're building it up to eventually then transfer it to a live server. Let's say that's an example of what you're going to do, and you want to create a custom prefix. Now's the time to do that. Okay, you don't want to go and start creating databases with the standard prefix and then try and go back later and change it. It's a lot messier, it's a lot more work. So if you're intending to host this as a site on a live server at some stage, then I would suggest you create your custom prefix here, which could be WP, and it could be the name of your website if you wish, or whatever configuration. You know, it could be my web, and then put an underscore there, and then basically that's going to make it so if anyone gets into your site and just does an automatic search for table prefixes, by default everything's WP. Okay, so you've basically got WP underscore my web, and then underscore the table prefix name, and that's what you would do now if you were going to install it on a hosted server later off down the track. But if you're not, that's cool, don't worry about it, just leave it as it is, and then just hit submit, and it's just waiting for localhost. So there we go, it says alright Sparky, you've made it through this part of the installation. WordPress can now communicate with your database. So success, the database you created, WordPress can communicate with it. So now we're ready to run the install of the website.